And this class we are going to discuss on this little bit thing remaining, and we'll be quickly moving to classes and object concepts. That is very important, and it is there for your internals. Next week you have your first internal, so we'll move that. Okay, so I hope that you're understanding until this. So in the operators, we learn many type of operators: arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, bitwise operators. All these things we learn. Along with that, we have one more thing called short circuit operator. Let me show and visualize it to you. Short circuit operator. What is this short circuit logical operator means? Usually, if you want to know, like if you want to say two condition, and then you will use this single ampersand, and you will be using this single OR operator, right? So that it means that we know the normal truth table of this logical operator, right? So for example, if it is an AND operator, means both are true, means only it will give you true. So if any one is false, then definitely you will get the false. But in OR, if any one is true, you will get the answer as true. So this is what we know in the condition of normal and Boolean and OR operator, right? So what is this short circuit operator means? For the short circuit operator, you have to use double ampersand for and you have to use double this pipe symbol for the OR. And what is the differences? I'm going to show you with an example so that you will understand it better. Let us declare some variable, integer a equal to 10, and also I'm going to say integer b equal to 15 something. Okay, now I'm going to check some condition, like if I'm going to say a is greater than 5, okay, and I'm going to say and if I'm going to say b is greater than 10, then I'm going to say as system.out.println, we can just print greater, okay, or else we'll say else, and we'll say system.out.println, otherwise we are going to print smaller. So here, instead of putting, if I put a single ampersand, so we know that ampersand specifies AND operator, AND means both condition is true, then only the output will be true, otherwise it is false. That's what we know already. That's same here as also. Okay. But here what happens, so here when I use a single ampersand, it will be checking both the condition. It will go and check whether a is greater than 5. So here a value is 10. So 10 is greater than 5, condition is true. And b is greater than 10. So b is 15. So 15 is greater than 10. The condition is true. If both the condition is true, then this statement will be executed. Otherwise, this statement will be executed. That is the normal case. We all know that. But what happened when I use double ampersand means, you consider the case, I'm going to say whether a is greater than 15, okay? So a value is 10, but I'm checking whether a is greater than 15. So 10 is not greater than 15. So here itself the condition fails, okay? So here itself we got the answer as false. A greater than 15 is false, right? So we know that in AND, if any one is false, definitely you're going to get the answer as false. So when I use this short circuit logical operator, it will not go and check this condition, because it already know if any one condition is false, definitely if it is true or it is false, you will get the answer as false only. So it will not go to the second part and it will waste its time. We know that already it is false. So there is no meaning in going and checking the second condition. Okay. So that is what is this AND operator. I hope that you have understand. I'll repeat again. If you put this double ampersand, it says it is a short circuit logical operator, in the sense, if first condition is false in the case of AND operator, no need to go and check the other conditions. Okay, so by that we can able to save the time. So because we know the response time of program is very, very important. Whenever we develop a program, it should finish its work as early as possible. Whenever we use a mobile application also, we want immediate response from it. So we can optimize our programs like this. So say for example, same way in the case of OR operator. When I use double OR, so if I say like this, A is greater than 10. So let's say if I say A is greater than 14. So here the A value is 10. 10, okay. So we'll say here as 5. So I'm going to say A is greater than 5. What is the value of A? 10. 10 is greater than 5. Condition is true. But you know that in OR operator, if any one condition become true, definitely it is going to give the result as true. So there is no meaning in checking the second condition, right? So here already 10 is greater than 5, condition become false. So we don't want to waste our time in go and checking the second condition. But if it is like this, okay, if A is greater than 55, now the condition is false. So definitely we want to go and check the second condition. At least sometimes there may be the possibility it may be having the answer as true, right? So here 15 is greater than 10. So we will get the answer as true. So this will be executed. So if I run this program here, we will get the answer as greater because one of the condition is true, right? So if I use a single ampersand, then if it is true or false, it will go and check all the conditions. But if I use this short circuit operator, which means whenever you use double ampersand or double pipe symbol, in that case, it will not go and check according to the condition it is expected. I hope that you have got it. Do you understand what is short circuit operator now? So, yes, thanks, ma. So if I use single ampersand or single pipe symbol, it will check everything, whatever may be the situation. But if I use double ampersand, in the case of AND, if the first condition becomes false, no need to check the second condition. In the case of OR, if the first condition is true, then there is no need to check the second condition. Okay, ma? So that's the thing. But sometimes you should be careful about this kind of cases also. Come to this part. Here I have used single ampersand. So single ampersand means it will be whether the first condition is true or false. Whatever may be the case here, it will go and check the condition. Sometimes we may be thinking that C equal to 1, right? So if the C is equal to 1, sometimes for example integer C is equal to 1, we have something like this. So C means 1. So 1 is equal to 1, condition is true only. But since we made a single ampersand, it will go for the second part. And we want sometimes E want to be incremented in some cases. Okay, so if I use a double ampersand here, sometimes if the first condition become failed, say for example if C is equal to 2, so 2 equal to 1 is condition is false. And we know that when AND operator is used, if one condition become false, definitely we'll get the answer as false. But when I use a single ampersand, it will definitely, if it is false or true, it will go to the second part also and execute, so that this value will be incremented. Sometimes we want this to happen. In that case, you should be careful whether we want to put a single ampersand or double ampersand. I hope that you are getting. Okay. Sometimes we think if it is true or false, something should be happen in the right hand side also of this operator, means then you have to use a single ampersand. But if you think, okay, nothing will, like we want to do nothing special in this right side, means then you can simply go for a short circuit operator, which means you have to use a double ampersand. Okay. So this is about a short circuit operator. Okay. So do you understand? Do you understand short circuit operator and when to use it and when not to use it? Okay, ma? Thank you, Alma. I hope everybody are getting. Yes, yes. Very good, ma. Thank you, ma. Next important thing we are going to learn here is what is that? Is ternary operator. Okay, what is this ternary operator means? So here usually whenever we use any operator, for example plus, it has two operand. Even if it is a multiplication, then we have two operands. So these are all like binary operator, like it has two operands only. Ternary means, so you consider a case like this. I'll quickly demonstrate it so that you will get it quickly. So let's go and take here. So I'm going to have output variable to store the result, and here I'm going to check a condition. Okay. So what is the condition I'm going to check is, I'm going to check whether a is greater than 5. Okay. If a is greater than 5, then I'm going to return greater. Okay. Or else I'm going to return smaller. Okay, so this is similar to write a small if-else condition. Okay, so that instead of writing if, so everything is now done in single, everything is done in a single line. So this is the syntax. What is the syntax? First you have to say about the syntax is like this. In the ternary operator, first you have to say the condition. After specifying the condition, put a question mark, and this is the true part. Okay, if the condition is true, this part will be executed. So what to be executed? The code should be written in this side, and put a colon to write the else part, and end it with a semicolon. And you can have a variable this side to store the result from this. Okay, so if the condition is true, then the first part of this before the colon part will be executed. If this condition is false, the second part will be executed. So if you look at this example, so here what is the value of a? A value is 10. So 10 is greater than 5. Condition is true. So if the condition is true, the first part will be executed. So greater will be stored in the variable result. Since I am returning a string, here I created a variable of type string. Okay, so let me say system.out.println, and let me print the result. So if I run this program, I will get the answer as greater. Okay, I can even say greater value. Okay, so that you can understand, we got it. If I make the a value as 1, okay, so now we know a value, the first condition is fails. If the condition fails, 1 is greater than 5 is false. So it will go to the else part, and the smaller is printed here. So smaller will be written to this result, and we are printing this result. So this is called ternary operator. Okay, so you can have 3 values here, one part, second part, third part. Okay, so this is said to be the ternary operator. So first the syntax is, first you have to say the condition, then the true part and the false part. Okay, so if the condition is true, the first part is executed, otherwise the second part will be executed. Don't forget to put a question mark here and a colon here. So this is the syntax and a small example. So condition, then a question mark, and the first part, the true part, and the else part. Okay, so this can also be written like, how will you write? We'll say no, like this, if a is greater than 5. Then what will you say? Here we'll say the result is equal to greater or something, right? So this is what we will do, and then we will write the else part of it. So here we will write the else part, and then we'll say the result is equal to smaller. Okay, so instead of writing this thing, this big thing, we can write it in a very single line, and we will get the output. Okay, so this and this is similar. I hope that you got until this. Are you understanding until this?
Ma'am, I have a question.
Tell me, ma'am.
Ma'am, instead of assigning a variable using the ternary operator, can we use it to just print whatever we want?
Sorry, instead of
like checking and assigning like the string RE is equal to something, can we just print directly?
You're asking like this. Can I put a system.out.println here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I have not yet tried that. I'll just try for you.
Like if we remove the string RE statement also.
This like, right? I don't think it may be.
I was saying just not print ln and print greater, like that.
Print
print
You want to just write here, okay, great.
Yeah, is that possible?
So I have not thought like you, and I think it is showing cannot convert void to a string. I think we want something to be what to say, to be returned to here. Okay, so we want to assign something to this resultant variable.
So, ma'am,
So I
can you
just,
remove
Ma'am,
that
in
whole
the
thing? Just put
bracket,
A.
just put the condition, ma'am.
Like, ma'am, if you remove
Greater than
string
5 in the
tiny and
condition.
put A greater than 5 and just put the question mark, ma'am, will it be fine?
so I'm not getting. You want to change this one?
Ma'am, can we just remove that string array equals, ma'am?
Okay, you are saying that remove this, right? You are checking that. You are saying directly write like this.
Yeah, ma'am, would
Yes,
that work?
ma'am. Would that?
And then the smaller also, ma'am, we'll have to change to the same thing, ma'am.
I think it, I don't know. Is it going to be working or not? I have not tried. This is what your expectation is, right? And I guess it is not working in that way you are thinking. And it says syntax error on token greater than. I think the syntax itself is like this. I'll show you that. Whenever we have something, it is going to be returning something. Okay, so we should have something to receive the result of this. So either it can be true part or it can be else part. It's going to return the value to this part. So we want some value to be written from this ternary operator. Okay, so it is showing error. Okay, you can try other possibility. If anything, you can let me know. But it's saying type mismatch cannot convert integer to Boolean. We have some condition so as I said, it has to be written. So if the condition is true, something want to be written and stored.
Ma'am,
Okay.
what if we give if a greater than 5? Can we?
That you should not do. This is a short form of doing if.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
It is a short form of doing if. That's what I showed you that already also, right? Instead of writing if condition, something like that, only we are doing this. Instead of writing this big thing, we are simplifying this one in a single line. I hope that you got it. So this is how we have to write. Let me check any other possibility for this. If I know it, I'll tell you in the next class. But usually when you write a ternary operator, it is expected to return something for the resultant variable. Any other possible way to escape from this, I'll find it. If it is there, I'll let you know. Okay. Otherwise, this is the syntax. So
Yeah, ma'am, I think that's the way we were talking about, ma'am. It works in C, ma'am. So we were just wondering, ma'am.
Yeah, maybe. But here it is not working. Let me check any other possibilities there. If I know, I'll let you know. Okay. So otherwise, this is the syntax. Okay. So condition, returning the value, and this. And this is the simplification of this one. Okay. So the true part and the else part, and this is the condition. So when the condition is true, go to the first part. If the condition is false, automatically go to the second part after the colon, and the result will be written back here. Okay. So let me find the other possibility and I'll let you know in the next class. Okay, ma? So that's all about the operators. And let me show you this operator precedence as well. So these are the operator precedence. Precedence means which operator have the higher priority. So we know we have learned many operator, arithmetic operator, logical operator, bitwise operator, like what else? All the different type of operators we learned. So among all these things, the square, like parenthesis, square bracket, and dot operator will have the higher priority. After that, if in a single statement, if you have all these things, So first we have to finish off the parenthesis value or the which is having the square bracket or the dot. After that, this increment, decrement, negation will be getting the priority. After that, this multiplication, division and modulo, followed by addition and subtraction, then bitwise operators, then relational operator, then like comparison operators like this, and then it is giving priority for this like logical operators. Right. So this is how the operator precedent works. So where you can see here, when you have a bigger expression like this, which have many things, many mixed operators. So first one, which one you will be completing? So according to this rule, first the data which is present in the expression present inside the parenthesis should be executed first. So first we have to complete this 4 plus C value may be assigned somewhere. So we have to do that. After that, then we have the next parenthesis here, and then we have to do the right shift. After that, then we have to, when we have this both, OR operator and this one. So we have to finish this AND operator, then the OR operator. Finally, the result will be stored. And when you see in this first expression, we don't have any parenthesis. So out of which we have to check which operator have the higher priority. So when you see here in this table, before you go to this bitwise operators like right shift and all this logical operator, first we have the higher priority for the arithmetic operators plus subtraction. Then only we have the priority for the bitwise operators and the logical operator. So here first this addition will be done. Later on, bitwise operator will be done. Then later on, finally, AND operator will be done. Finally, OR operator will be done. Okay. So that's all about the operators. I hope that you got about it. So are you clear until this? Do you understand something about the operators in Java? Got it, Ma?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes. Thanks, Ma. Okay. So thank you all, Ma. So the next thing, very, very important concept we are going here is like classes and objects. So that's a very important concept of Java. And Java is a object-oriented programming language. I hope that you know that. So everything in Java is mostly considered as objects. Okay. So let's see quickly about this classes and object concepts. So in the remaining class, we are going to discuss about this only, and it is very important. And I want all my dear students' attention here, okay? Because if you are clear about classes and object concept in Java, then you will understand everything else. That's it. Once you are clear in classes and objects, everything else we are going to work only with the class and objects. So until now, we were learning about this, right? The basics index. Like we have a class. Inside the class, we were making a main function. And then we wrote all our code until now inside the main function, because we know the main function is the entry point of your program. So whatever I put inside the main function will be executed first. So until now we were putting all our logic only inside the main. Okay, so now let us move little bit ahead inside the Java concepts. So that is classes and objects. So you know already how to create a class and all, but we are going to see in depth into it. So we know that in a Java program, in a Java file, we can have any number of classes. And you should also remember something. Everything in Java should be written only inside a class. Okay, you cannot write something like this. System dot out dot println. If I write here, it is a wrong statement. Okay, so we know that anything in Java can be written only inside the classes. So here immediately you can see it shows some errors. Multiple marker at this line, syntax error, insert curly braces. So it is saying saying that we mistakenly keeping this statement outside the curly brace. So it's suggesting like that. So if you think in Python and all, it's not like that. Anywhere you can write any statement. And even in C, you can write some functions outside the, anywhere you can write a function. But here in Java, that is not possible. Anything you want to write inside a class only, because that's the boundary. Say for example, when we have a house, if you want to add an extension, it will be coming under the boundary of the house. We will not build a separate. If I want one more additional room for my house, I will not go and build somewhere. It will be added inside the boundary of my house. Same way, whatever you want something new for your class, put it inside a class somehow. Okay. So in a Java file, I can have any number of classes. That's the first point. So why we want this class? So let's learn quickly why we want this class. So we will, I think I know that many of you know classes and object already. Do you all know classes and objects already? You might be learning from the different lab batches. Do you all know class and objects? Yes? So many of you know class and objects, right, already? Okay, ma. Thank you for your response. Who doesn't know class and object? I didn't know anything in class and object. You said, oh, okay. Thank you, ma. Thank you for your response. Then only I know how you are in different way you are in. So anybody else? Okay, no problem. So first as I have to teach you in the theory class, I'll just, if you know it already, no problem, just have it as a revision. So why we want a class? Class and object is a basic object-oriented programming concept. It is a very basic OOPS concept. Okay, object-oriented programming concept. In the object-oriented programming concept, we have many things like classes, object, inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, abstraction, all these concepts are there. We'll first learn about class and object, then we will move on to all this thing, then only you will understand. So when you go to we will say Java as an object-oriented programming concept, because everything in Java is considered as object. Because of this characteristics only, we are going to say Java as an object-oriented programming language. And in that, the basic building block is class and object. All other will be depending upon this class and object. So in the object-oriented programming concept, class and object is very, very important. Let's see why we want this class. So whenever you want to do something, we want to create something new, in all the cases you have to go for classes only. Now we are going to learn something in that. So until now we know many different data types in Java. What are the different data types in Java? We have already learned primitive data type, and also we have learned about reference type. Okay, so that's about the data type you might be learning in the beginning of the class. Primitive data types, we have integer type, then we have a floating point, and then in that we have character type, all the same. So these are all predefined data types already available. So in this data types, we know in primitive data type, we have integer, float, double, character, long, short, byte, all these things. In all these things, we can store only one data in it. But when you go to array concept, which comes under reference type, we can store collection of data. Okay, collection of similar data can be stored in it. In the array concept, we have learned it already. Similar means if I create an array for integer, then I can store all integer values in it, right? So this is how we have learned already about this. But in sometimes it is not the case to store like that. So in the lab also I taught you an example. For example, whenever I want to store the information about my student, the information about my student all are not integer type. There I can have string type to store the name. To store the address also I want string type. And to store the grade, I can have a character type. Okay, A grade or B grade. And to store the age of my student, I want integer type. And to store the CGPA of my student, I want double type. So you can have to store my student information. I have different kind of data type. In Java already, there is no predefined data type to hold all these things in a single thing. So I hope that you are understanding. So I am going to create, using a class, I can create a new data type. User defined data type can be created using a class. That's the first point, okay? User defined data type can be created using this class. That's the first point. What about the second point? The second point is like, we can able, class is a blueprint, okay? Class is a blueprint, or you can say class is acting as a template. So what does this blueprint means? So I will teach you in a very simple example. So I have told you the same thing which I told in the lab, I am going to explain. So if I want to create a bottle, every time the maker of the bottle will not simply take the plastic and mold like this. They will not do like this. What they will do? First they will make a mold of this shape, and then so that's the first thing. When they make the mold, they will make it nicely with their hand or some tools. Then, so once the mold is ready, then from using that mold, they can create any number of copies of this bottle shape, right? So you can see in the market, only one bottle will not be in this shape. There will be multiple bottles of this kind, of the same shape. This comes from one mold, right? Same way, that is the term here said as blueprint or template. Once I make a template of this type, I can create any number of copies of this class. That is said to be as object. Okay, that is said to be as object. So you may basically now you understand here, using a class I can do two things. One is, first thing is, I can create a user defined data type. So that can be done using a class. Second one is, class is a blueprint. Okay, class is a blueprint or it is a template. So when I can make a copy of the class, that is said to be as object. What is an object? Object is the instance of a class. What is that instance? I'll say an example. Say for example, car. What are the instance of a car? Toyota is a instance of a class. RD is a instance of a class. Discover is a instance of a class, right? So this is like a class, and these are all the objects of the class. And say for example, bird. So what are the, this is a class. What are the instance of the class? Like peacock, and then crow, and some hen. So these are all birds. So common features, every bird have a common features that will be defined the bird, and these are all the instance of the bird, right? Same way I have, so now we'll come to some more examples. Student. So I have so many students in my class. Say for example, John, Peter, Joy, Kevin, Daniel, so many names. So student is the class, and these are all the instance of a class. What is the meaning of instance? They are all the examples of the student, right? So in English meaning of instance means we know it is an example. Okay, so John is an example of student. Peter is an example of student. So object's definition is, object is an instance of a class. Once I have made a class, from that class I can create any number of objects. As I said, once I create a mold for a bottle, I can create any number of copies of the bottle. So the mold is said to be as class, and all the copies which I make from this class is said to be as object, right? So this is called class and object. And one more thing you have to remember is, like whenever I create a class, don't create a class for peacock, crow or hen, or Toyota, Audi or Discover. You have to create a class for car, then this and all are the objects. Okay, same way, if you want to create a class, don't create a class for John. Create student, because John are all coming under student type, right? So do you understand? So whenever you create a class, it should be a more general one. Objects are the specifics of the class, right? Say for example, I have told you another example in the lab as well. So, I cannot create a class for each one of you. Instead, what I can do, I can create a student class, then I'll make all of you as an object of the class, right? Say, for example, can I create a class called with my name, Roshni? Can I create a class? Is it correct? Can I create a class like that? Are you getting? Can I create a class called Roshni?
No, ma'am.
No, very good, right? Thanks, Ma. Thanks for your response. You cannot create, but what can I do? I am an instance of what? Employee. Right? Thank you, Ma. I hope that you are understanding, right? So whenever you create a class, the class should be a general one. It should not be a specific one. So I am an employee. I am an object of type employee. Okay, so that's all the thing you have to keep in mind when you create a class. So let's create a class here. So then one more thing I have to teach you is what are the things you can have in a class. So when you create a class, the class contains only two things. Only two things. Okay, what are they? A class can have a data. And this data is also called as instance variable, or you can also call as data member. Okay, or it can also be called as data member. So the second thing present inside a class is function. Okay, so this is can be called as method or member function. So many names you can have like this. So only these two things only can be present inside any class. Okay, other than this you should not put anything. Okay, so can I put a system.out.println in between? No, it is wrong. If you write a class, this class can contain either a data or a function. Say for example, then how to create a class? I can create a class by the keyword class, followed by you have to say the class name, student, open a curly brace. Then inside a class, I said you can have only two things. What are they? Data and a function. What are the data I can write about my student? What are the data I can write about my student? So create a class, and the class name I have to put a student. Okay. So it is very easy only. If you listen, you will easily understand. Okay. Don't think it is a hard. Just I told you the theory parts. So just create a class and the class name. It is also a good practice that always whenever you name a class, always start it with a capital letter. Okay. So inside a class, first part I said is the class contain data. So what are the information about the student? That is the data, right? So what are the things I can think about my data? What are the students' informations? What are student information? Name. What else, Ma?
You can write register number, age.
Very good. Yeah, so very good. So this is all the information, right? So first I have to know what is his name. So name is the first data. Then as you said, you can have register number. So I can also make a register number as string itself, right? And then I can have, then what are the information I can have? I can have your personal information, like what is your age? And I can also have which branch you are in. Okay, like that I can have. I'm going to make it very simple just to make you to understand. Let me make age. So that is an integer type. And also I'm going to make the mark, which is also I'm going to make it as an integer type. Likewise, I can store your address so that I can make your address as a string. So what other information you have, all these things I can make it. Okay. So like your, what else, your CGPA, your attendance percentage, which specialization, which are all the courses you have completed, everything I can store. So as of now, I am going to make it as a symbol by having only 3 data about the student. Okay. So the first part is over. A class can have a data. The next thing, a class can have a function. Right? So a class can have a function. So I can write a function like, so we know the normal syntax right from the C programming language, you know about what a function, writing a function. So what is the syntax of writing a function? Can someone tell me what is the syntax of writing a function, ma? What is the syntax?
Ma'am, return type and function name.
Very good, Joel. Anybody else? You can just boldly answer, right or wrong, that doesn't matter. How you have the courage to express yourself matters, right? So you are always welcome to answer, okay? Right or wrong is not a matter. But do you have the courage to answer or open up your ideas? That matters when you go for the placement as well, okay? So, okay, not a problem. So first we have to say the return type, name of the function, and then followed by you have to say the parameters. You can have parameters or you may not have the parameters, right? So inside this display, I am going to just display about all the details of my students. I'm going to say the name is, and then we know after the quotes we'll put a plus and then we'll say the variable. So here these variables are not local variable. This is said to be as instance variable because this is a special ones of this class. Okay, and then you can also call it as data members, right? And then same way I can display all the other information as well. Sorry. I can write other information like I can say the ages and I can display the age here. Same way I can say the marks and I can display the mark. So when I specify here, just you have to specify in a general way. So this is a very basic example and like this is an example of writing a class. So always remember a class contains two things, a data and a function. Like this I can have any number of function, okay? I can also increase this data, but can I write like this? Can I put like a system.out.println here, okay? And it is not even coming also. I'll try and do like this. You see, is it possible to put a system.out.println? Okay, so you should not put like this. It's showing an error. What does it say? Multiple markers at this line, syntax error, insert a curly brace to complete method declaration. So many errors it is showing for that. Okay, it says it can be annotation or something. It's thinking that you are mistakenly keeping the statement outside, right? So you should not do this. So always remember, if you have a class, you can have some data like this, or you can have some function like this. You can have any number of function, like you can have another function called call function, something like you can have any number of function and you can write the body inside. That doesn't matter. But other than this data and the function, you cannot put anything other than this, okay? So this is how you can create a class. I hope that you have got an idea how to create a class. Do you understand how to create a class now? Do you understand, ma? Yes, thank you, ma. Thank you for your response. Very good. Okay, so the class is now ready. If I want to use anything inside a class, it's like a one box. Okay, so it is inside this box called student. It's a class. We have already learned about the different analogies. I have explained about this class. It's a class. And if I run this program, let me run this program. You see, am I getting anything as an output? I will not get anything as an output. Even though I have display function and all, nothing is working, right? So if I want to use all these things, what should I do? I have to create an object for the class. You know that we have already experience of using scanner class and creating object for it and accessing its functions like next int, next float, next double, all these things, right? So the scanner class is a predefined class already in util package. Same way, this is our own class. If you want to access it, you have to create an object in the same way you did for scanner class. First, you have to put the name of the class, object name, let's say student1 equal to new. Again, you have to say, I already told you, starting and ending will be in the same format, right? So I say system.out student. So I said no, whenever you create a class, it's a user defined data type. So here you can see the data type is this now, okay? So usually we'll say like integer a. What is the meaning of it? A is a variable of type integer, same here. S1 is an object of type student, okay? Now, if I want to access anything, I'll say, okay, now I want to access this display function. So, which is the function present inside the student class? How can I access? I'll just say s1 dot display. If I run this program, you will get an output like this. So, we have not given any value actually as of now. No literal is assigned to this variable. So, the default value of string is null. The default value of integer is 0. And this is also again an integer, so we got a 0 here. If I make it as a double, so we know that the default value of double is 0.0. So here I'll get the answer is 0.0. As of now, we didn't give any data to it, any value to it. So we are getting the default value. Okay. So this is happening because of the default constructor automatically done by the Java compiler that we'll discuss in the next class. Okay. So this is giving us this answer less null 0 and 0.0 because of the default constructor which will assign the default value to all these data members. So this is how we can create a class. And now student 1 is the object of this class. Like this, I can create any number of students. I can just create student 1, student 2, student 3. If I have 70 students in my class, I can create any number of objects like this and I can do my work. Okay. So this much, do you understand? Do you understand this much, Ma? Yeah. Thank you, Ma. Thank you all. God bless you. I'll quickly take your attendance and you can leave. Okay. Thank you. So you please refresh all this